everyone. So I apologize for my voice straight up. I'm getting another cold. It sucks. It's finally spring and I'm starting off with a cold. Today I wanted to show you how I culture flightless fruit flies. Now for those of you not into reptiles, amphibians, and invertebrates, that's a very confusing prospect to bring home fruit flies and raise them. But because of their size, they are a great food source for small animals. So I wanted to go over how I culture them because I mix them into my crested geckos and gargoyle geckos food. But yeah, so as I said, these guys are flightless, so these guys aren't flying out. However, they can climb, so whenever you are harvesting them, I recommend using calcium powder and putting it inside of a tall cup, and it prevents them from climbing, though you do have to shake them up because they will groom the powder off. So I personally make my own culture media because it's a lot cheaper and I like doing stuff with my own hands, basically. Though I respect anyone that buys, the $20 fly media from Repashy and all that. I have no doubt that it's good, but I just like doing it by myself and I find it easier. So this cup is from Josh's Frogs. Now you can use any container you want. You can use glass ones, whatever. The most important part is you want the lid to either be cloth or a very fine mesh. And the reason why is because you want a lot of ventilation and you obviously don't want them to escape. But another important factor is that you do not want wild fruit flies that can fly to breed with your flightless fruit flies. Because the flying gene, these guys do have wings, however, for whatever genetic reason, they cannot fly. Now there are wingless fruit flies, but I'm just clarifying that real quick. But the flying gene is dominant in fruit flies. So therefore, if you just have one wild fruit fly that can fly, that breeds with your flightless ones, the future generations will be able to fly, and that's going to be a disaster. But anyway, so I prefer using the plastic cups, though I do reuse them. I don't recommend throwing them out, getting lazy and not cleaning them out and reusing them or recycling them. Terrible for the environment. Anyway, so the media that I use is just mashed up banana that I mix with oatmeal. And there's no straight directions, there isn't a straight recipe for this. I just add as much oatmeal to kind of firm up the mixture. So you want it to be moist so that the flies can get hydration, but you don't want it to be so wet that the maggots are drowning in it. So I mix it up, put it at the bottom of the container, and then I just throw on some yeast flakes. Now, I'm not necessarily 100% sure on the use of the yeast. I believe that it prevents microbe growth. That's just my guess. And then I also add cinnamon because that helps with the smell. Now, I will warn you that as a culture ages, the smell does increase. Like, I can't smell this right now, but when I take off the lid to harvest these flies, it smells terrible. However, before I started using the cinnamon, and I have these guys in my closet, whenever I'd open up the door, I would just be hit with the smell. So, that's a useful tip for you. And then, for climbing structures for the flies, to keep them off the media and to keep them comfortable and everything, I just use cut up scrap paper. Just because it's a lot cheaper and I have a lot of scrap paper. But yeah, a common thing to use is Excelsior, which is like wood shavings. I've also seen stitching plastic grids. I'm not sure what they're called, just imagine in your mind. But those are reusable, so those I find those to be a great idea too. But if I were selling cultures, I would use the Excelsior. I just don't care because it's my own culture. So when you're getting ready to start a culture, I recommend using about 15 to 20 flies. You basically want a good sized breeding population, but you don't want to overstock the container. Like for instance, personally, I think there's way too many flies in there. They're using all the media. They can suffocate themselves with the carbon dioxide they're producing. So you just want to keep that in mind whenever you're deciding on a breeding population. And then you just kind of throw those in there. And a good way to keep them down is just to tap on the container. Sorry, I was kind of panicking there. I didn't want them to get everywhere. But yeah, that's it. I hope this was useful to you. I know it wasn't a very good directional video, but I hope it gave you some idea on what to do with these guys. Alright, thank you for watching.